Well, in legal circles, none of us are surprised in America that Donald Trump was indicted. We're hearing that this indictment, though unsealed, carries more counts, some 30 to 40 counts that include business fraud, financial fraud, conspiracy, and even racketeering. This case is much bigger than Stormy Daniels. I've listened to your former guest talk about the political ramifications of this case. Well, I've represented elected officials who have been running for office and been indicted at the federal level and at the state level. And I must tell you, you may have a political strategy, but Donald Trump's liberty is at stake. His criminal acts that he allegedly has committed, the government has the burden of proof, and it takes a lot of preparation and time for an elected official, or rather a politician running for office, to fully defend himself, work with his lawyers, and to ensure that his liberty, he maintains his liberty. So this is the criminal context. This isn't civil, it's not regulatory, it's not a campaign. His first and foremost priority, and I'm sure his defense attorney is telling him, is to remain free and to be found not guilty by a jury of his peers. That's a lot to run for president and to be facing a criminal charges or even a criminal trial during the campaign. It's almost impossible.
Now, it's worth adding we don't have the full details of what's in the indictment yet. But in your opinion, what does this process look like moving forward?
Well, having been from that office, I can tell you that once he's been indicted, the prosecutors are on the phone with his criminal defense lawyer, one. Two, they're trying to arrange when he can come in and submit himself, whether he does a perp walker or not. I doubt it'll be remotely, which is a possibility. But then you have the Secret Service involved, who their job is to protect him. But they cannot protect him from the criminal indictment process, if you will. He will have to be photographed and fingerprinted. He will now have an arrest record. They'll probably do it on the day that he appears in court before the grand jury judge or some judge that's been selected by a rotation system, and he will enter a plea of not guilty. Getting him in and out of the courthouse, despite the public and the media attention to this, will be up to the court officers in New York, who are very good, be up to the Secret Service and negotiations with the district attorney's office. They may bring him in underground, maybe. They may want him to do a public walk, if you will, because no one's above the law. That's possible. But his safety and the safety of the district attorney employees and others will be of paramount. The New York City Police Department will certainly be part of those negotiations. It's unprecedented, but again, he is a defendant that has been indicted, and he must follow these rules and procedures like any other defendant. That's the natural tension. We'll have to watch and see how they work it out.
And what does Trump's indictment mean for the 2024 presidential elections?
I think it'll matter as to whether he stays in or not. You know, when you represent people running for office, whether they're elected already or not, you know, money is the mother's milk of politics. And despite his following, right, the idea that he's indicted and that he may be indicted at the federal level as well as with the state of Georgia, money dries up, popularity dries up, and the GOP, the party, will have to determine whether this is now the time to walk away from him or whether they want to pick another candidate, because Donald Trump is too busy fighting for his liberty because of this indictment and perhaps other indictments. This is real. The political ramifications, to be honest with you personally, to Donald Trump, they matter today, but they won't matter once the indictment sinks in. Once he's photographed and once he's fingerprinted, psychologically, defenders, no matter how powerful they are, come into a reality check. And that reality check is that they could go to jail, they could be convicted, and that their life could change forever. And so these are real considerations that have nothing to do with politics or the PR strategy. He's got to stay a free man, and that's a real issue for him. GOP has to figure out how long they're going to hang with him or how long they're going to wait to get behind another candidate.